Hello everybody and welcome to this second video or part 2. And in this video we will be going to cover the next valuable aspect which is there, which is just completely focused on that how we can use DataBricks to ingest and transform the data. But before that, what we need to do it, we need to perform some task, like we need to connect my DataBricks with your data lake storage generation tool. So if I want to perform this task, I just need to follow some step. Actually, there are some steps that we need to perform to get this work done. And these steps includes, there are initially 4 to 5 steps which we will be going to cover. Okay, so in the first step, what we will be covering here is that in the step 1, that's going to be your step 1. And in the step 1, we will be going to focus on the first part of it. In the first part, or you can say in step 1, we will create a Microsoft Entra ID service. That's going to be your step 1. Then in step 2, which is going to be your next one, right? We will create a client secret for your service. Once this step will be completed, then in step 3, we will grant the service principal access to Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. In the next step, we'll create a key vault. We'll create a key vault, and in step 5, we will add the client secret key to Azure Key Vault so that we will be able to get the secure access. Then in step 6, we'll create an Azure Key Vault back secret scope in ADB, that is Azure DataBricks. And then finally, in the next step, we will connect to ADLS. So now, just to perform this whole set of tasks, like if you just want to deal with, this is what we need to perform. So let's start with the step 1, where we will be going to create a Microsoft Entra Service ID. Okay, that's one way to do it. Another way to do is that, like, if you want to make sure that your value or the key should be secure, it cannot be accessed by anybody, right? Then you can also directly create a secret inside your key vault, right? And then there you will be able to place it accordingly. So here, first we will try to use a service principal. So to do that, we'll head back to our portal. And in this portal, I will go to my marketplace, or maybe we'll click on this create a resource. If you will check these resource right here, as you can see right now, I will try to look for Microsoft Entra ID. Either you can search it here. So this is my Microsoft Entra ID, or you can also have a way to do it. Just expand this burger icon, go to your Entra ID. Under this Entra ID, check for the directories with subscription. Let me see if we can be able to find it from there. Okay. Well, right now, because we have only one Entra ID, so it might not show you that particular operations which is initially be there. So under this Entra ID, and when you are going to go for this Entra ID, like click on this uh, manage operation. You can click manage tenants if you want to manage your tenants. But right now, I want to register my application. So in this case, what I will do is I will look for this manage. Under this manage menu, we have app registrations. You just need to click on this app registration. Then you need to click on this new registration. And here you need to provide a name. So to perform that task, for example, I'm going to say Formula 1 app reg. Okay. Now who can use this API to access? So I said account in this organizational director only, which means because I'm using a single tenant, so it's a single tenant which we will be using here, right? And they are the one who is going to take care of that. And then I will going to click on this register. Now your application has been registered with name Formula 1 app reg. In the next step, I need to create another resource which is going to be a key vault. So you all can simply go to your create a resource, and there we have this key vault. Just use your Formula 1 RG and you can mention it as an Formula 1 key vault 133, because this is what we are using previously, and then hit review plus create. So this is actually going to validate all the resources which are initially be there, right? But before that, if you all want, you can also do some configurations. Like for example, if you will go back, so you have an option under the access configuration, Azure role-based access controls. And we also have vault access policies where we will be able to design and develop our vault access policies as well. Okay. So for my task, I would prefer to go for the vault access policies. Then we'll click next, all networks, and then again next. So this is running a validation there. Once this validation will be completed, then we will be able to create our key vault. And then you just need to click on this create button so that your key vault will be created. Meanwhile, my key vault is already creating. I'm going to use the third step. I'm going to perform a step over there. And in this step, what I am going to perform, I will just go to the all resources. We'll go to my data lake storage generation 2. Then we'll click on this access keys. I will select this primary access key and then I will simply hit. First of all, I will copy this and would like to place it on a notepad. So this is your storage account name. So as in step one, just copy this. Just next to it, copy this key, the primary key. Okay, so we have done with the two very important steps over there. Okay, then I'm gonna hide this one. Now you can check this and you can see the deployment is succeeded. Now you need to click on this go to resource. Inside this, we'll go to the secrets. We'll click on generate and import button so that we will be able to design or create a new client secrets. Right? So this is the secrets tab. You can use client secret or create a secret. You can give it a name. So this formula one storage secret. Here you just need to place your key. You can set an expiration date as well for this particular part. Look, for example, I'm going to say it should be 21/4 at 2:29 p.m. is the expiration date. No, you can actually be able to change it. Suppose you want to keep it for, so it goes to 2026. Well, this is a quite big longer time. What I'm going to do is I will simply go for 23 and 2024. That's it. And then we will be going to create. So now my formula one storage secret has been created there. Now once this is done, okay, once this is done, first of all you need to copy this secret name that we will be using right here, because the secret name is going to be used for your secret implementation. Now you need to follow two more steps. You also need to go to this overview page, and from this overview page you need to copy a few things. First of all you need to copy the application, or you can also call the client ID. Okay, and you also need to use a directory ID. Two things you all need to use right now when you are going to like work with these particular options right now. So we have just use and quick options here. Under this objects we can have the secrets, and we have created our secret just right here. As you can see right now, this is the current version which is initially be there. You can just click and check. Okay, this is the secret identifier which is going to identify your secret as well. Sometimes they are quite helpful operation or helpful options which you will be able to use if you want to like work with these operations. But it is basically be used for like if you want to go for the multiple client operations, or if you want to use the multiple client environment, you can actually be able to utilize it. You can actually be able to utilize it. Okay. Now in the next step, I will head back to my Formula One key vault under again this overview. Here I'm going to use this directory ID. Maybe this directory ID might be required for me to just give them the further permission so that we will be able to generate or access the token right now. Okay, So we have just did this approach right here. And this vault URI is also very important in many cases, like if you want to go with some customizations or if you want to apply some customizations, you can actually be able to apply these customizations, or you can use this to go with your custom managed keys as well. Then in the next step, just go to home, all resources. You need to go to your Formula One data lake storage. Inside this, you need to go for access control IAM and then click on this role assignment. Under this role assignment, or you can just go and check with the access and then click on this add button, or you can click on this add role assignment button. Under this add role assignment, if you can see right now, I have multiple roles available with me. You all are going to click storage blob data contributor. You just need to click it. Next, you need to add a member. Okay, you need to add a member. So you can use users, groups, or you can also be able to use the managed identities. That's totally up to you what you would like to use. If you will click on this select member here, and when you click on that, okay, these are the system assigned manage identity. I said all system manage identities, which is there. You also need to assign this so that they will actually be able to get access to it. That's the first most important thing that you all need to perform right here. Okay. With that, if you want, you can also be able to add the user group or service principals which are there. Okay. So under this role assignment, you can also be able to, like if you will go for user groups or maybe the service principal, you can hit on this select members. So you can also be able to add the members to it if you want to add members to it. But that's okay. We will go for this managed identity and then we'll click next. There is no condition I'm going to give, and I'm simply going to call it as an review plus assign, because that's the place where I am going to access my service. Perfect. Now, as all these steps has been completed and we have assigned permission to the data lake storage as well, because that's the place which I will be going to use for many aspects as well. But on the other side, I'm also going to I'm also going to work on the other operation which is there, right? So in this particular case, what I am going to do is, again, first I will head back to my overview page of my key vault to make sure that whatever I have designed, everything is perfectly approached or perfectly created. So I believe everything is perfectly fine till now. So in that case, now let's go to this DataBricks. Now, if you want to work with DataBricks, or if you want to call your Azure based access inside that, you need to launch the workspace first, and you need to create an Azure Key Vault backed secret scope. You need to design a secret scope as well. And if you want to design that secret scope, first of all, what you all need to do is you can head back to this. Just copy the URL, this one, go to a new page, paste it there, use slash, and then here we will be going to cover so here first of all .NET hash secrets And inside that, I'm going to click create scope page, right? You can always check and assign the secret and the other things which are there, right? The only thing is that you just need to make sure that you should have proper ID with you. Like for example, if this is ado.net, something like that, if you can see right now, this is the complete instance that we will be using, right? So you can just copy it again, go to the new portal, paste it there. Before this net, you can use hash, and then you will mention the secrets, and then after that we can have create scope. So now this will open a scope page for you. This is the scope page where you need to create a scope. Now first you need to give a scope name. So I'm going to call it uh, formula 1 hyphen key hyphen vault hyphen secret. I will copy this, will go to my notepad, and then I'm going to paste it here because I definitely don't want to forget it. So here for the manage principle, I have creator, I have all users. I am going to use all users. Now here you need to give the DNS name. What is this DNS name initially? When you will go for this DNS name, you need to provide the name of your vault, the vault that we will be using with .NET. This one. You just need to copy it from there and just place it. And then in the resource ID, you need to actually provide the directory ID that we have previously copied, so that we will be able to secure our resources as well. Okay. So there is something with name slash subscriptions. So just go and check for your data bricks again. For your key vault, now, for the secret operation or for the secret implementation, the one that we are already following here. So we required, see, there are two things we required. We required a resource ID as well. And how you will get this resource ID? You need to head back to your key vault again. And then you need to click on this properties button. Under this properties, there is a resource ID with name subscription. You just need to copy this subscription from there, go back to your Databricks, and you just need to place it here. Once this is done, you need to click on this create button so that the scope is going to be created. Okay, it is added, click OK. So yeah, we have done with one part. Now, the second thing that we need to focus on, because we have done with these operations within this Databricks only, right? And we have created our scope, and I have already copied my scope so that I should not forget any of these operations which are initially be there. I'm just going to focus on the second aspects which is there. So in this case, you need to go for a compute first. And inside this compute, you need to create a compute, which means you need to create a cluster. So it's going to be a single node with a single user. This is the access, which is trainer. Runtime is okay, means you can take any of these runtime operations. You can also take the latest one if you want, or if you required that. In my case, I will just keep it to maybe 13.3 or maybe 14.2. That's totally up to me. I said no, 15.0. That's the latest one. Then it should get terminated. If it is idle for say 60 minutes, then it should get terminated. Once this step has been completed, then I will click on this create compute, and I need to wait for this compute to be created. Okay. Now, if you can see on the top, a progress is going on. Let the progress continue. And let's wait for this to be completed. So now what you can find out is that my cluster is already up. Okay. We can see the cluster right now. and it is already up and running. Now, once this step has been completed, now the next part that we need to follow, we need to perform the task of mounting my resources or mounting my data first of all. Okay, so now at this time to get this mount operations, or if you want to apply a mounting implementation which is there, so first of all you need to provide your scope and credentials, right? So but this can be done using a notebook. So you will simply go to your workspace, expand your workspace, or maybe you can go to your home, and then you can uh, click on that, go to your workspace, users. So Cloud Trainer, ACCT, that's the user. Then create notebook. So now, as you can see, we do have our uh, DataBricks notebook right here. Now it's time for us to like call and read the mount the data or mount your data factory just right here. So, or mount the storage account just right here. Now, as you all can see there, if I will take you back to this Formula One data lake 133, we do have three different folders. One folder is raw folder, one is your processed folder, and then we have the presentation folder. Right now, I'm going to pull the data from this raw folder, and I have this much CSV files available with me, which I'm going to use for my work purpose. Okay. So now at this point, let's head back to this location, and then we'll go back to our transformation page. And here, the first step I'm going to perform, right? The first task I'm going to perform is that here I am going to mount the ADLS account in DataBricks. So at this point, what I'm going to do, we'll go back to my code area, and under this code area, I'm going to use a DB utils. There is something known as DB utils, which I am going to use for this whole purpose. This is what I am using: db utils.fs.mount source is equals to wasbs colon / raw @ formula data lake 133. That is my raw is the folder, is the container name. That's my data lake 133. Okay, and then this is .blob.core.windows.net. Okay, then for the mount point, I am just going to call it as in formula 1 data lake, formula 1 data lake 133. That's my mount point also, which I'm planning to use right now, /raw. Raw is actually the container name, which is what I would like to place just right here for this whole purpose. Okay. So now what we have did, we have just used dbutils.fs mount source is equals to wasbs raw @ formula data lake /133.blob.core.windows.net, and then I have created this mount point with name /mnt /formula data lake /raw. This is the mount point which I am using right here, and then I'm using an extra configs file. Within that extra configs also, I'm using fs.azure.account.key formula and so on. You can see this one, right? Now the thing is that because I have already run this cell, so you can see it is giving me a true. It is giving me a value as true. Now, if I want to represent this information, or if I want to show this information, right, I would prefer to use some data frames. I would like to use some data frames, and with the help of that data frames, we will be able to design this data. But for the time being, suppose that if I want to read the data, if I want to read maybe a single data only, a CSV file or anything, I'm simply going to use a simple display statement, display, then spark dot read dot, and then I'm going to call my CSV. And then in this quotes, what we are going to do, we will give the path. We will give the path like this one. So here is our path. Okay, and then I'm using what, raw, and then / suppose I have a file with name circuits.csv, right? Circuits.csv. Then I'm just going to use that circuits.csv and would like to show this data. Meanwhile, I'm showing this data. Uh, what I will do is I will just add one more code here, and then in the first markdown, right? In the first markdown, second markdown, what I am mentioning here is that I will use a three hashes or three sharps, and it's about creating mount point for raw container. Actually, we required other mount points also for the other containers as well, right? If you are just going to work with it, you require the mount point because we have three folders. And for all these three folders, there is a possibility that we need to create three different mount points. So I am going to perform the same task right here. Let me copy this code. And after this first mount, I will go to this code again. Then I'm going for my second mount. This will be for, you all can go and check your containers processed. So I will use what? Processed container. And then after that, I will just copy this utils.fs mount. I will go inside that, and then I'm going to change it to processed. Same thing I'm going to do here because I'm going to use this processed container. So I will use my processed container right here. And then I'm going to run this query. Meanwhile, this query is going on. I will add one more markdown and copying the line right here. And then this is another markdown, and this will be for presentation container. I'm going to use it for the presentation container. Okay. So to do that, again, I will copy this code from here. We'll just add a new code part, and then I'm going to utilize them. The only change I'm going to do is that I will use presentation. And here, done. So I have did it for the presentation as well, and just run this. Perfect. As you can see right now, all these mount points are created for us, right? All these mount point are created for us. Now, after that, I have just run a query to present this data, right? This is just a simple query, but it is not using any headers or anything. So now, just to go with the further operation right now, I'm going to prepare and create multiple like files, or you can say the data frame files, or I'm going to create data frames, which is definitely going to help me to read this whole information. So to do that, I'm just going to click on this code %MD, and then we'll use creating, or if you want to keep it bit bold, creating data frames for CSVs. Okay, for CSV. For CSVs. Okay. Now in the next line, I'm actually going to call my data frames. I'm going to prepare the data frames. Right now I have multiple files. So I'm going to create multiple data frames, and these data frames are basically related to your drivers_df. Then we have circuits_df. Then we have results_df. Okay. Then we have results_df, constructors_df, lap_time_df, pit stop qualifying df, and then races underscore df. These are my different data frames that I'm going to use, and I will do only one thing. Actually, I have did some minor modifications here. I'm just going to do that quick modifications in my frame as well. So let me replace this information. Because this is my data lake from where I'm reading the data, I would like to use these files with me, right? So I have created multiple operations or multiple options which are there. And actually, please make sure that you will maintain the case sensitivity. I am maintaining the case sensitivity for all these operations because in my raw folder, all the files are in the lowercase. Not a single file is in the uppercase. They all in the lowercase. So you need to make sure at the time of creating the data frame, they all must be in lowercase. Then click run. And it's a success. Now I got all my data frames ready, and then I'm good to go with the further steps. So now as the data frames are there for me, so now what I am going to do here is that I want to go for some modifications. I would like to go for some modifications. So what I will do is, first of all, in the step 1, now what we will do is we are going to extract and rename columns, as simple as it is. Okay, that's what I am uh, planning to perform. I'm planning to do right now. Okay, so now at this point of time, what I'm going to do next is, right, I'm going to add one more code part here, and under this code, uh, I'm going to call some packages. I'm going to call some packages. So inside this, I'm using from pyspark.sql.functions import col. Then I'm using circuits underscore selected underscore df is equals to circuits underscore df dot drop call URL. Because if I will show you one information here, if I will just simply say display circuits df, when you will click on this display, circuit ID, circuit reference, name, location, and at the end, I have this URL. Actually, I don't need this URL. Okay, I don't require this URL. That's the first and the most important thing I'm focusing on. So I have just removed this URL so that I will be able to access this whole resources from there. So now, to perform the next step, so actually, what I am gonna do is I'm actually going to use and I'm going to perform some very important tasks which are required to be done here, right? And I'm just going to show you what I'm going to perform next. In the next step, what I'm going to do is that once I have displayed you the circuits and everything which you can see right here, now we will be, or I will be going to perform with the further task. We have created our data frames. I have already shown you the content as well, right? I have applied my circuits DF, which are initially be there. And then the last step, which I'm going to perform is that after this circuits and all, because I have just put it as an first priority. So first of all, you just remove this one. You don't need this one. This is was only I have shown you so that you will be able to see what's going on here. So I'm using circuits selected df, circuits df, drop call URL, circuits underscore rename, selected df dot with column renamed, circuit ID with circuit underscore ID, with column rename, circuit ref with circuit underscore ref, lat as latitude, lng as longitude, and alt as altitude. And then I'm also adding the ingestion date column to data frame for the auditing purpose. So I am just mentioning from pyspark.sql.functions import current timestamp, and then I'm using circuits final df, circuits underscore rename df dot with column with name ingestion date, and then current timestamp function I'm going to use right now. Well, I would like to run this query or run this one, and as you can see right now, all these three different type of data frames has been created for me. Now, if you want to check this data frame, especially the last one, because the last one is something which we will be using. So I will use display circuits underscore final underscore df, and then you just need to hit this play button so that you will be able to run it. Now, what you can find out here is that if I will go towards the right, you can see that ingestion date is removed, ingestion date is added, but the URL is removed. Okay, but the URL is removed. This is what we can call the transformation, or you can just simply call it as in transformation. Now, whatever changes, whatever modifications that you want to perform for the other columns, maybe, right? You will also be able to perform these changes, these modifications, these updates, everything from the further operations as well. So right now, I am just showing you that okay, this is how you will be able to make necessary modifications. Now, once I have just used this modification, now what I am going to do here is that I want to make sure that I will add some folders inside that. I would like to add some folders inside that. So for example, if I will go there under this container, I have this processed. Currently, my processed is blank. I don't have any information right here. Now, in the next step, what I am going to do is I am going to export this data frame to the Parquet file into the processed folder, because in my process folder, I want to keep all this information in a form of a Parquet. I want to keep all this information in a form of a Parquet. So I'm definitely going to perform that specific task just right here. So just to perform that particular task, what I am going to do, will go to my transformation notebook. Right now, this is my DF. Now, I would like to convert this data frame into the Parquet format. And this is not, I'm going to perform this only with this particular operation. Actually, this is going to be a repetitive task. This is going to be a repetitive task for all my data frames that I have actually created there. Okay. So at this point, and then later on, I'm going to make the further modifications which requires to be done. Okay. So now at this point of time, what we will be going to do is that uh, I'm just simply going to remove this code one. I don't need this right now. Apart from that, I will simply start a fresh code part, and I'm going to use percentage MD, and inside this percentage MD, I am mentioning export data frames into Parquet file to processed folder. So in the next step, I will head back to my code, and then I'm going to do the necessary modifications. So the first thing, I'm going to perform this task with my circuits, So actually, if you all remember, I have created my circuits underscore final underscore df. So I'm going to use circuits underscore final underscore df dot write dot mode override dot Parquet slash mnt slash formula 1 data lake 133 slash processed slash circuits, and then display spark dot read dot Parquet that formula 1 data lake data lake 133. Formula 1 data lake 133, which is the name of my data lake file which I would like to use, or which I'm going to use, or you can say I'm going to implement right here for my work purpose. All right. So now what's next? So in the next step, I'm going to create the, or I'm going to perform the same task again for my further other data forms or other drivers which are initially be there. I'm going to perform this task. Okay. So let's see how to get this thing. All right. Now I'm going to add the other files also. So I'm creating one for drivers underscore df. Okay. One for driver underscore df. And let me just make sure. Sorry, it's pits underscore stop. All right. Now, if you can see right now, I have circle underscore final df, drivers df, results df, constructors df, lap time, pit stop, qualifying, and then races. And if you will go on the top, you all can see that these all are the data frames that we have designed a few minutes or few seconds before, you can say. Okay. Now, once this part has been done, okay, I am simply going to run this query right here, where I'm trying to convert all these files into the Parquet format. So now this will give you the final result, or you can say the fetching result. Now you can look at this. This is the final step where I will be able to read all these files from there, and they all are initially be stored in a form of your Parquet. They all are stored in a form of your Parquet. If you want to confirm it, go to your processed folder and click refresh. And what you can find out here is that, let me check with the other part as well. So let me try this up. Let me run this query where I'm just making sure that I should have all these files, whatever the data frames that I am using, they must be converted into your Parquet format. They should be converted into the Parquet format, and you can see there are multiple jobs which are initially going on to just present that information. They just keep fetching the result. Just wait for the result to be fetched. What you can find out is that I got all my results just right here. As you can see right now, I will get my results just right here. So now, as you can see, I can see all these records, whatever the records that I do have right now. And then on the other side, I'm going to hit this processed folder. We'll click refresh, and you will see that there are multiple folders are going to be created in a single go. Correct? Multiple folders, and every folder consists of one file in a form of your Parquet file. This is the file that we are talking about, snappy.parquet. I know this is showing you part 00000, but that doesn't matter, because anyhow we will be going to perform all these tasks on the basis of the directories that I already have at this point of time. Okay. Now once you have get this whole step done, okay, once you have done with this whole step done, now it's time for you to just like go for the further operations, where we will be going to perform the task of, again I would like to go for the transformation path, where we will be going to deal with the transformation kind of operations, that whatever we would like to perform right now. So we already have all the data frames ready with us. Okay, data frames are ready with us. Now this next step which I am gonna do there is that here I'm going to first look at this. This is the result. Then I'm going to click on this code right now. Under this code, I would like to use my further implementations, whatever I would like to present right here, because I have already created all these operations. Now, the next thing we have, again, it's percentage MD, and then finally, we will go for the last step, which is data transformation for presentation layer. Data transformation for presentation layer is what I'm going to perform right here. So for the data transformation for this particular operation, what we will be going to do is that I'm going to add a new code first of all. And here I'm going to add a raw folder path, which is /formula1 data lake 133/raw. Then processed folder path with name /mnt formula1 data lake 133/processed. Presentation folder path as /mnt formula1 data lake 133/presentations. And then after that, I have started reading my Parquet files and then I am trying to make further modifications. So drivers underscore df spark.read.parquet. All right, so I am just trying to perform some transformation. I have added this. These all are my files which I am going to capture from my processed folder path for drivers, constructors, circuit, races, and then I'm just going to perform the same task for you can say for the results as well. As you can see right now, I'm going to do the same task for results as well, right? So let's try to run this first. All set means according to them it is successfully created. I just want to reconfirm it. Okay, so what I will do, I will simply go and type display drivers underscore df. That's my first one. Click play button. And if you all remember, in the drivers underscore df, we have changed number to driver underscore number, dot with column rename name to driver name, nationality to driver nationality, and you will be able to see those modifications here. Driver number, driver nationality, okay, and what we have, nationality, and the name to this driver name. Hold on, let me check. Same thing, we will be going to perform. Okay, sorry, like yeah, so we have this drivers underscore df data frame which we will be using right here. And let me check with all the respective aspects, that even though if I am going with my drivers and everything, we should have all the details about the drivers. Okay, fine. All right. So now as we can see right here, we will be just using some very important and a very respective formats which may be helpful for us to just get this whole work done for us. Okay. Then when we will go to this drivers underscore df, where we will be using drivers, or we are following drivers, we do have a something known as name as well when you are going to work with your drivers and everything, but that's okay. If you don't find it, it's fine. Now apart from that, if you will go further and you will check for the other transformations, that the changes that we have just performed, like we have this drivers underscore df. Now let's try it with the constructors underscore df. We just want to make sure. So what changes we have done is constructor underscore df. As you can see right now, we have just changed the name to team name. We just need to make sure that name with team name should be present here. And if you can see right now, okay, currently they may not have the full-fledged approach which is there, but you will be able to have add the name and then team name and the other names which you will be able to utilize as well. And that is basically what we are going to find in my Parquet format. Even though if I will go to my processed folder under the containers, raw, and suppose if I'm going to capture the constructors.csv file that we have captured from that particular location, let me see, I believe. Okay, that's fine. They have just given you that if you want, if these columns are available, you will be able to make necessary modifications. Anyways, let's try it with circuits. Well, I have already applied the respective changes into the circuits underscore df. So I'm also going to make sure that circuits underscore df must present me the respective information. Okay, we do have that. The only modification I would like to do in the circuits underscore df slash in the next line dot with column renamed, and here we have something known as name. So I will change this to name with circuit underscore name. I would like to use this circuit underscore name. Okay, and then you will just simply rerun this. It will do nothing, it will just refresh all this one, and then this time run the circuits df, and now we do have the circuit underscore name. So this is actually going to give me the very clear picture that what informations that we will be going to use right here. Okay, so I got circuit underscore name as well, and I can check with the other part as well. Constructors done, circuits done, races. Now you can type or check with the races. So we do have the races underscore, sorry, races underscore df just right here, and try to run this. So we do have this race name as well. So that's perfectly fine because this is what we have. Make the necessary modification, and the timestamp, the race timestamp should be, the race timestamp should be your like if you will just go towards the right, we need to check what all are the different columns that we will be using. Okay, let's do one thing. Races underscore df dot print schema. Qualifying date, we have time. So let me see. Okay. And we are also going to check for display. Okay, it seems that we don't have anything with name timestamp inside that. So there is no point of just running this query to just fetch the timestamp of your resources, right? You do have the name and you do have the date which is there. Technically, the date should be replaced to race underscore date in the races. Let me rerun this query. And let me rerun this query one more time. Perfect. I got my race date here. So name is race name and date is race, or date is race date. And I will also check the other one just for the confirmation point of view, that if we have anything with the name of your team name, because team name is basically, so constructors underscore df. Yeah, we don't have anything with that. Perfect. No problem. That's totally fine. But whatever the minor modifications that needs to be done, I have already done it now. Okay. Now I do have all the respective uh, properties, or not properties, but you can see all the respective data frames which may be helpful for me for the further implementation. So we did some minor changes to them. We have provided them some meaningful name to them so that these guys will be able to utilize them accordingly. So now once this is done, okay, I don't require this, so I'm just removing this. This is just what you will be able to use to represent your resources. Now at this time, what I would like to do is I'm trying to perform a join with some table. I want to perform a join, right? So we'll just go for the joining the tables. So for the time being, if I can just go and check with the different type of data frames which are there. So let me check with the circuits data frame one more time, because I want to make sure that I should have all the necessary information available. So display circuits underscore df. Circuit ID is there. Circuit name is there. Reference related to that. Okay. And then let me check with my final circuit as well, the one that I have defined previously. So I think I don't have anything related to the race ID here, right? So it should be races underscore df dot race underscore id. Then circuits underscore df, races underscore df dot circuit underscore id is equals to circuits underscore df dot circuit id, drivers df and results df dot constructor id, and constructors df dot constructor id. Let me check about this file first. So you all can see I have just called a simple join here. Races underscore df results underscore df dot race underscore id equals to races underscore df dot race id. So I have just constructed like this one. Okay, and then I'm just going to place it or run it. So you can see my data frame is successfully created. Now once the data frame has been created, then I would like to uh, access, or I would like to create the the required columns, whatever the required columns which are there. Okay, so to get the required columns, just next to it, so now we are extracting the required column. So as you can see, we are performing the joins. Apart from this join, we are also creating a final underscore df. So race underscore results underscore df dot select, and then I'm calling all the respective columns which I require to be present right here. Now once this is done, I will first simply run this whole query, and you can see that I got my both the data frames created. Now the last step within the same process, for this process only, what we will be going to do here is we will simply go and write the result file to presentation layer. So now we need to write this into the presentation layer. So now in the last step, what I'm going to perform here is that uh, I'm simply going to use the respective operation for just creating this file. So what I will do is I would like to copy this uh, information about this packet, okay, directly from the previous operations that we have performed, right? So I will simply copy it from here, and then finally I am moving towards my final result. Here I will change it to final underscore results underscore df, final underscore, sorry, final underscore df dot write dot mode override dot packet. Under this process we will be going to create we will be going to create one path, right? So for overwriting this, I need to create one path. After this override, I will use dot parquet, then F, and then inside that, so final underscore df underscore df dot write dot mode override dot parquet F, then colon, and here we will call my presentation folder path that we have created previously. Okay, and then I'm going to create something named as results race results, and when we are into this race results page, we will be simply going to close this up. Now as you can see right now, as you can see going to see right now. Now I would like to check that whether I will be able to get my final result or not. So I'm just going to hit it and try to write it just right here. Let me check. So now what we have did, we have successfully converted it into the Parquet folder or Parquet file with name race underscore results. You all can simply go to this Formula 1 Data Lake 13, and when you will go to this presentation, you will find that we do have a folder with name race results. Under this race results, I have this part 00, which is approximately 1.06 GB of file. So that's why it was taking too much time when we were trying to present it. Okay, it is more than 1.14 GB. So you can easily understand, because this is the size of this file, we may not be able to see them directly inside that particular operations there. So now at this time, once we have done with this part, now suppose if I want to apply few more filters to it, right? So I will go to this next code part here. And in this code part, suppose I am going to call, first of all, let me see that what we have inside this. So I'm going to say display final underscore df dot limit 1000. See, we are applying a filter. For example, I would like to capture for the year 2009. I will say display final df dot filter race underscore year equals to 2009. Race name is Canadian Grand Prix, and then I would like to run this so that I will be able to fetch the records from there. So currently they may not have the respective data for the year 2009. So maybe if I will try it with 2007, if they have any 2007 data, it is going to pull that data from your data source, and yeah, they do have the 2007 data as well. Then after that, in the next step, I'm just going to perform this another transformation, and here this transformation which I'm going to perform here is about standings, or you can say that race standings. So now here I'm just going to use the race year, driver name, driver nationality, okay, driver nationality. Then I'm using an aggregated. Then this will be your results underscore points dot alias total underscore points count when call position equals to 1, and then true dot alias wins. Then I'm displaying driver standings at df, and then final df dot write dot mode override, and then I'm just storing this information in the presentation folder. So let me run this query and let's see what is the result, right? So as you can see, the process is going on. Let it be complete. This was the final transformation that we have done with the driver name, nationality, and then total points, and then wins that we all are here. So this will give you the whole information about different years and different drivers and so on, and you can easily be able to check it now. Actually, what happens over here is that when you will go to your formula data lake and in the presentation layer, you can see I got one more folder here with name driver standings. So you can simply go there, click on this part 000, and then you can click on this edit. So it's a quite big file, that's what is not accepting that, but yes, we will be able to filter out the data as well, right? So with this, part 2 of your project is successfully completed now. So thank you so much for watching this video. In the next video, we will be going to start with part number 3, uh, which will be about creating data pipeline and scheduling Azure Data Factory. So talk to you in next video. Take care.